So, by show of hands, I'm pretty sure by the last speech you already know, but how many of you guys know what GMOs actually stand for? Anyone? A few of you. For those who don't know, GMOs stand for genetically modified organisms. They are living things that undergo a form of gene therapy under lab conditions where segments of DNA are either spliced, rearranged, or removed altogether. So pretty much, in other words, like short and sweet, it's any genetic material altered in a science sort of way. What you may or may not have known is by eating GM food, you've been eating GM food most of your life. In the United States, much of corn, soybean products, and are genetically modified, which go into most of our foods that we eat, as well as our livestock food. Each and every one of you, on average, eat 190 pounds of genetically modified foods every year, stated by the Environmental Working Group. GMOs are dangerous to our food supplies with potential health impacts like that of new allergens, pesticides exposure, and antibiotic resistances. About 15 million Americans have a food allergy. Does anyone in here are allergic to any type of food? Yes, no? Okay, a few of you. I know I am myself, and GMOs play a huge impact in those allergies because they transfer genetic material from one host into a new one, and a brand new allergen is created. An example would be Tangelo, if you guys know what that is. It's a tangerine and a grapefruit mix. So what it is pretty much is they take the strand of a grapefruit and put it into a tangerine, so it tastes like a grapefruit but looks like a tangerine pretty much. But pretend you're allergic to grapefruits and you eat this Tangelo. You'll think like, oh, I won't be allergic to it because it's a tangerine, like it's going to be fine. But actually, because of that genetic modification, you're actually going to be allergic to the Tangelo. And it might not be a big deal, like Tangelos is just like any other, like a random fruit. But for those strands that do get mixed in and genetically modified, like peanuts or anything that are life-threatening to some people, it creates more of that towards the wide range of food. Another cause of these allergies are pesticides. He might have said that, yes, we use less pesticides, but pesticides are still harmful to us. They contain a chemical called dyschlorophenia, which weakens our food tolerance and causes more allergies and even health problems. So how GMOs play a part in this is crops are genetically modified so that pesticides don't affect them at all, so they grow properly and everything. The only thing the pesticides does kill off would be the weed and like insects that farmers don't want. Those pesticides are still consumed by us. Even though they go through the manufacturing process and get cleaned out and everything, not 100% is cleaned out. An example would be the potato. So I know we eat potatoes through like chips and like fries, and it's in most of our like carb diet. So how it's in the potato is through the soil, they spray the pesticide, and then the soil absorbs the pesticide, and then the potato absorbs the pesticide. So once they extract the potatoes, yeah, they wash it off and stuff, but they can't like completely take out the pesticides. It's just like, oh, I'm going to take vitamin A out of a potato. You can't really do that. It's just like, it can't be extracted. So that's like a major thing that we ourselves are consuming more and more pesticides every day. So GMOs are an unnatural experiment. Scientists have to force foreign genes to the host cell, which is done with the help of antibiotic resistances. The overuse of these in humans can cause antibiotic resistances pathogens. Pathogens, in other words, is an infection, which is obviously very harmful to humans. An example would be this guy named Sam Spitz. So he was a high school student, sophomore, and he wanted to play for the National Baseball League. And he was really good, like scouts were like calling him up and everything, but one day after practice, he went out with his friends and ate some pizza. He decided to get a chicken Caesar salad, because he wanted to be healthy for his diet for baseball. And then he got home, and then he wasn't feeling well. He went to the doctor, and they found out that he created like an infection because of the antibiotic pathogens, which caused him to lose weight and then completely lose his baseball career just because of simple Caesar salad. DNA is complex, and we have yet to understand all the potential complex interactions, like that of the new allergies or the pesticides or the antibiotic resistances. The potential dangers are very dangerous, and our food supply is at harm at this. So before you pick up any foods, make sure you don't eat GMOs.
Thank you.
That would actually be a funny thing, like if you have like a claim of fact that is the opposite of someone else's claim of fact, then it's like a policy. Okay. But yeah, that would be funny. If like if you get like it's like extra if you end up contradicting someone else, you don't take the Nice.
All right, yeah, it's kind of interesting that we got those back to back. I think that it helps establish a little bit of a controversy. I can't wait. I can wait. I don't have any place to be. I think that helps establish a little bit of controversy. That makes it a little bit easier for you there at the beginning. You've got a pretty clear statement of what the proposition is, that they are in fact dangerous. There is kind of a preview, but you rush through it, and then when you get to the body of the speech, you don't have distinct secondary claims on those particular points. Now, I can pick out a couple of things. I think there's an argument about allergens, there's an argument about pesticides, and there's another argument about it's that it's unnatural, experimental, that sort of thing. It's almost like it's not quite the allergen argument again. It's about antibiotic resistance, and I'm not exactly sure that you make those points as clearly as you need to in the body of the speech. So it's sort of like I said to Cheyenne, I think you've got an organizational structure here, but you're not clarifying it to the audience enough to make it easy for them to follow, and casual listeners could easily get distracted from some of the points that you're presenting. You had information about the number of allergies that are there, but your proof or your relationship of those allergies to GMOs is very sketchy. The only evidence that you present is this you've got the tangelo, and you've got a hypothetical person who might be allergic to one fruit or the other, and they accidentally eat this. I'm going, well, has that ever happened? We've had these things for a while. Let's see some example of this. Where's an illustration of this? And by the way, that doesn't create the allergy. That simply means that people are susceptible to an allergy that they already have. Your argument seems to be that they're creating allergies, and I'm looking for the proof on that particular point. Then we get another hypothetical example on peanuts, and that's about as close as we get to any proof on that particular point. On the pesticide argument, your argument mostly sounds like it's about how pesticides are bad, without explaining why it is that GMOs have anything to do with making the pesticides bad. The example of the potato, for instance, that would happen whether it was a GMO potato or not, because the potatoes absorb the pesticides. So why is this a harm to GMOs? Your link on that is just not very clear. Your proof on the baseball player, I think, is a little bit thin. You need to give us a source on this. This sounds like some lawyer is suing in this particular case. I don't know if there is any, what's the science on this? Where's the scientific data that demonstrates that this is a result of something that they ate in that Caesar salad? And by the way, I'm still not sure what it was in the Caesar salad, whether it was genetically modified or created this antibiotic resistance that you're talking about. That needs to be explained. So I think that's a little bit problematic. So your generalizations need more proof. There's an organization, but it needs to be structured. It needs to be cited a little bit more clearly as you're presenting it. And at the exit, you know, despite the fact that you started with a claim of fact, you're exiting with a claim of policy also. It wasn't that big a deal because it was really just kind of a cutesy way to finish the speech. I didn't think that you were really switching the point that you were making, but you might want to be consistent on that. All right, thank